As the Director of Outdoor Programs at Whitman College, I'd like to welcome you to the Whitman College Climbing Center. The wall is made up of hundreds of imprint and freeform panels by Entreprise climbing systems. There's over 7,000 square foot of climbable surface. The bouldering wall is 98 feet long and 12 feet high, and the main climbing wall at its highest point, it's 39 feet high. The rest of the wall is 32.5 feet high. In order to use this facility, you must first complete a few requirements. First, we require everyone to sign in at the entrance desk and show their ID. Each semester, you will need to sign a new liability waiver form in which you acknowledge that you understand the rules and regulations of this facility. By signing the waiver, you also acknowledge that climbing is an inherently hazardous and dangerous activity that can result in harm, personal injuries, or death. You also need to sign in on a clipboard every time you use the facility, reaffirming that your use of the facility is voluntary and that you still understand and acknowledge the risks involved. Shoes, packs, and gear should all be kept out of the bouldering and climbing area where they become hazards. Place all gear under stairs or chairs near the entrance. Wall user cards must always be worn when climbing. There are 4 different levels of wall user cards. New users cannot use the roped climbing wall before passing the top rope proficiency test. To take a top rope climb proficiency test, you need to have at least 5 days of climbing experience or have taken the basics clinic. And to take the lead climb proficiency test, you need to have at least 10 days of lead climbing experience or have taken the lead climb clinic. Only the figure 8 follow-through knot is allowed as the climber's tie-in point. A safety check should be completed every time before leaving the ground. When checking the climber, check the climber's harness and tie-in knot. The climber should then check the belayer that their belay device is hooked up properly and connected through the belay loop, and that the system is closed and that the belayer is close to the wall if not using a bottom anchor. Helmets are always recommended and can reduce the likelihood of injury and are available free of charge. If choosing not to use a helmet, you do so at your own risk. Belay close to the wall when lead climbing to avoid being pulled hard into the wall during a fall. Move close to the and and side to side if necessary to manage the rope so it is not a hazard for the lead climber. Falling climbers or boulderers can swing or fall several feet away from the wall, so pay attention. Whenever climbing, avoid climbing too far to the side, creating a pendulum potential, especially when there are other climbers and belayers that you may swing into should you fall. This is especially important on the far left and far right routes where you could swing into windows or other objects. Bottom anchors are useful when there is a large weight differential between climber and belayer. There are a few sets of daisy chains that can be moved to different bottom anchors when needed. Larger climbers should ask someone close to their weight to belay. Don't use the existing bottom anchors for belaying lead climbers so as to avoid a situation where a lead climber could fall on the rope. Be sure to close systems. A stopper knot will work for doing this. Please use proper climbing commands.
On belay?
Belay's on.
Climb.
Climb on.
The bus belay method is the preferred belay method at this wall. P-bus stands for pull, break, under, slide. Other belay methods, such as slip, slap, slide, are allowed, but getting on the P-bus is encouraged. In order to climb on the vertical wall, you need to pass a top rope climb and belay proficiency test. Experienced climbers can go directly to proficiency testing. Beginners should enroll in a basics clinic. Other clinics and proficiency tests are also available for other skills. No uncertified climbers are allowed on the vertical wall unless they are under the direct supervision of climbing staff, such as during clinics, testing, or facilitated climbs. Using a spotter is highly encouraged, especially when in an inverted position. Bouldering is allowed on the vertical wall below the red line. You cannot use handholds above the red line. Roped climbing has priority. Do not climb beneath or near other roped climbers. Spotters should not use forked open hands, but should use cupped spoon hands to avoid injury. The area beneath the climb and around the belayer or boulderer must be clear. Furthermore, it is up to the climber or boulderer to be aware of their landing zone and any people below them. It is the climber's responsibility to move and use portable bouldering pads to protect them if necessary. When bouldering outside, watch pad edges to avoid ankle rolling. Make sure to move pads so they are directly below the fall line and push pads together to avoid ankle problems. Crash pads and a spotter are required when topping out on the outside boulder. If pads are not present, then do not top out. 2 spotters are recommended when bouldering high or in very inverted positions. You are far more likely to be injured while bouldering than during roped climbing, because every fall is a ground fall. Even the thick mats are not a guarantee that no injury will result. For example, a boulderer can land on the side of their foot and turn an ankle, or worse, land on their head or neck. When climbing high, such as above the crack, or in an inverted position, you should have a spotter. Remember to read and follow the safety policies and rules for the wall. And I look forward to seeing you down at the Whitman Climbing Center.